It's the third episode of Game of Thrones out yet. Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. Now, this is a real interesting one today, and pretty sad, to be honest with you, but let's get into it. This is a tweet by a lady called Christina Minkinen, I believe. If I butchered your surname, I do apologise. And this was put out a couple of months ago, 12th of February. Hello friends, I'm looking for career opportunities. If you're looking for an experienced content/communications manager that's incredibly detail orientated and good at untangling production pipelines, please let me know. Myself and my entire team were affected today. They are a great hardworking people and will bounce back quickly. It has been a pleasure building up the Hearthstone community and global communications efforts these past 6 years. Christina was a former Hearthstone global content manager at Blizzard Entertainment. There for 6 years with that team, and was unfortunately a casualty of the 800 sackings that were announced at the annual earnings report. And of course, what made those sackings particularly egregious and disgusting was the fact that they announced a record-breaking year, a historic year, best time to be a shareholder at the company, celebrating all that by sacking 9% of the workforce. 800 people. It just didn't add up. Record breaking, best time, sacking 800 people. Now, obviously you could say, well, they're planning for the future because, you know, what have they got? They're running all their IPs into the ground. Blizzard Entertainment running WoW into the ground, Diablo into the ground, Heroes of the Storm, RIP, etc. What do Activision have? Well, they've just lost Destiny back to Bungie. They have that. Don't have that IP anymore. The only one that they've really got going for them is Call of Duty. And with no new games announced, no new IP announced, other than Diablo Immortal Mobile and Call of Duty Mobile, it seems very clear where their efforts are going to go. And their efforts are going to be targeted towards the east, towards China. And it's having a big impact on their current fan base because they're feeling as if they're being left out. There's no new IP that's been announced for them. There will be stuff, but will it be decent? Will it be good enough? Who knows? Particularly when you've lost 9% of your workforce. Not only that, but they were very disrespectful in the way that they actually communicated these people. They said that we're getting rid of unnecessary positions, which is pretty disgusting. Because when a company is successful, the likelihood is, the very, very high likelihood is, it's because of the whole machine that's working. Every cog working together, turning the machine. You start taking out some of the cogs, some of the other wheels don't move. And things start grinding to a halt. And so success is usually born from the whole of a team, a company working in unison. But now, a couple of months later, Christina puts out this tweet yesterday. Reminder that 2 months ago, Blizzard laid off a significant number of people. Many of them are my colleagues and friends who are still looking for work. Some of them have been forced to uproot their families and move out of state. She then follows that up by saying, as a punch in the gut to these people, Blizzard is rehiring for some of the exact positions that were laid off from. Not only is this incredibly shameful and downright embarrassing, virtually no one is calling them out on this. Know your worth and don't be fooled by #passion. I'll get onto this last sentence in a moment, but I want to address this one. Blizzard is rehiring for some of the exact positions they were laid off from. Now, to try and see things from both sides of the equation, you could say, well, maybe the people who were sacked weren't up to snuff, weren't up to muster, and therefore they wanted to get rid of them and bring in fresh blood to the company. Now, I understand that, and I could go along with that if it was a much smaller amount of people that were fired from the company. If it was like 30, 40 people that were fired from the company, then that looks like it's targeted positions that they believe aren't working correctly. Targeted positions. That group's not working correctly. That person in that group's not working. We need to get rid, and we need to, they're not working out here. find someone else to take the role. But when you're doing a whole 9% of the workforce, 800 people, Thanos from the company, no, that looks too high a number. It just looks like they picked positions and just looked at teams where they could cut dead weight in their eyes. Because, maybe the future ain't so bright for them, as we just said. And when she says, shameful and downright embarrassing, virtually no one's calling them out on this. Not trying to put words into her mouth here, but I think she's talking more industry-orientated people actually at companies like Activision Blizzard Entertainment saying, hey, if you've sacked, these people and these roles are now available, why aren't these people getting first refusal back to their roles? Because that's morally, to me, the right thing to do. If the position has come back up, approach the person that was fired in that role and say, look, going to give you first refusal. Your role has actually come back up. We do believe it's actually necessary. So we are going to give you first refusal. Come back to the company. If you come back to the company, we'll reinstate your perks as they were, and you can take it from there. That would be the moral thing to do, in my eyes. But, companies aren't moral. They don't give a shit. They don't give a toss whatsoever. They're just interested in the bottom line. So, these positions are going to get filled likely by people who are inexperienced, who will likely need significant training to get up to speed, and will probably be cheaper. And that's ultimately what, Activision Blizzard said they want to do. They want a cost cut. We've known this for a while now. And so the people who work the jobs, who are doing their jobs absolutely fine, see ya. It's pretty disgusting. Now I want to adjust this. Know your worth and don't be fooled by passion. Now, I don't want to ride Chris Metzen too much about this, but this is a perfect example. And again, I'm not putting words in Christina's mouth. I'm not saying that she's referring to Chris Metzen here. I just see a great similarity about what she's trying to say. Don't be fooled by words. Don't be fooled by the old pip cheerio sort of thing. Because Chris Metzen did tweet out, a lot of condolency tweets at the time saying, I'm sorry to the people who have lost their jobs and stuff. And even though, I'm not at Blizzard anymore, he understands how the company works and the effect that it will have and that kind of stuff. But then a couple of days after that, on the 14th of February, when he should probably be, taking his wife out for a Valentine's lunch, he tweets out, flailing about the apocalypse doesn't help. Positivity and faith in the long run actually do help. No, they don't. Positivity is not a tangible product, neither is faith. These aren't tangible. Jobs, money, they're tangible. That's what people need. So using this whole, be positive, band together business is nonsense. Absolute nonsense. A community that doesn't support each other won't last. Absolutely agree with Chris on this one. But I don't think he's saying it in the manner which I believe it should be done. And the community involves Blizzard themselves. Because that's where the buck's always got to stop. Because they're the one who's got the jobs. They're the ones who's got the roles. They're the ones who's got all the power. They're the ones that do the hiring and the firing. So the community has got to start and end with Blizzard Entertainment. And if these exact positions have come up again from people who were fired, then according to Chris's own logic, a community that needs to support each other, they should do what I said before. Reapproach the people that were fired and give them first refusal on returning back to the company. Be positive for each other. Be constructive. Anger just breeds anger. This is now just rhetoric. This is just rhetoric nonsense. I think Yoda said that once. Funny. This is meaningless. This is a sort of trying to do one of these meetings where everyone's pissed off and your manager comes in and is just like, come on everybody, let's do it. It's meant to just rally the troops. This is a rally the troops thing, and it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't give people jobs. It doesn't give people money. It doesn't put food on the table. It doesn't put a roof over people's heads. So that's what I personally kind of envision when I say know your worth and don't be fooled by #passion. And then she gets, quite dark. For those of you retweeting these job openings that work at Blizzard and were there during the layoffs and got to keep your jobs. Shame on you for enabling this behavior. So Christina's being very fair in her criticism here, because she's not just criticizing Blizzard, the company itself, the corporation itself, for rehiring the exact positions that people were fired from, but she's also calling out employees themselves that are retweeting those job openings, as opposed to just like keeping stum or speak out and saying, hey, if these positions are reopening again, why can't we please approach the people who have had the jobs before? Just think of the morale boost that would have to the company. The morale boost, the person who might be, concerned, worried, not being able to find work, or at least suitable work for their level, and then being told, hey, we got your position's actually come back up. Would you like to return to the company? The morale boost that person would be huge. Seeing somebody return back to the company that was laid off after such a short period of time because their role became available, just think of the morale boost it would have throughout the company as well. Who the people who are still there. Seeing some familiar faces return because some of the roles have become available again. Giving them hope that their positions may be a little bit more secure, as opposed to living in this fear now. You can have a great year, you can have a record-breaking year, but you can still lose your job. And then she stresses, you don't speak out about this because you want to keep your job. I get that, but at least have some grace. To the Blizzard people filtering into my DMs in agreement, I understand. I know if they say anything on social media or even interact with my post, it can come back to bite them in the ass. Just remember to always look out for yourself, because a company will not. And that, of course, goes completely against what Chris is saying. Well, or supports exactly what Chris is saying. A community that doesn't support each other won't last. Yeah, so the company has to support the employees. And that's not what they're doing. So you can't just say, hey, people, band together. Band together for what? They can't rehire each other. So yeah, but I totally agree. If people do interact who are currently at Blizzard with this post, it could have a detrimental effect. Also, people have lost their jobs. If somebody was to reply saying, hey, I've seen that my role's available again, it could have a detrimental effect on them. I've been approached by some ex-Blizzard employees and some Blizzard employees who are still there as regards to these job losses in recent months. And some people have told me their stories, and it's been very heartbreaking to read. And I think it's just been cathartic to them. But I can't share them. I can't share them. The reason why I can't share them is because they've specifically said to me, please just keep this private, because if it gets out, this could actually have an effect on my severance. And that's sad when you're being ransomed to silence because you just want to tell your story. It's really sad indeed. And then she ends it by saying, to any current employees still using #BleedBlue or #LifeAtBlizzard unironically and have friends that were affected by the layoffs, let that privilege flow through you. Ouch. People stay awake at night wondering how they're going to pay rent. Disgraceful. So yeah, again, I'm not trying to put words into Christina's mouth here, but yeah, I mean, these are very sort of like, yeah, pro Blizzard, and you got to understand the way that the company has treated these employees, particularly when they're offering their positions again, while not seemingly approaching the people who lost their jobs for it. I mean, I hope Christina's got work elsewhere. And I hope this doesn't affect her severance if it's due to her. But it is a very brave thing to do, calling out both the company and some of the employees. If you do want to do what Chris Metzen says, a community that doesn't support each other won't last, then, the people at Blizzard have, if you can, maybe rally together and say, look, we've noticed these positions are available. These positions were positions that people were sacked from. Can we have some discussion about reoffering these roles back to these people? I think that would be the moral thing to do. I think that would be a great boost to the company as well. And also, it puts somebody back in work who deserves, clearly, to have that position in the long run. So, yeah, wow. Crazy stuff. But at the same time, you know, we're so used to this sort of disgusting behavior by companies. It's sadly becoming more and more normal in terms of we're just not shocked by this sort of outlandish and pretty disgraceful behavior, which is sad because we should be. We should always be shocked and disgusted by this. So I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links are in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.